In 2005, a couple and their 28-day-old baby arrived at the emergency room. This baby had terrible thermal burns all over her body, and the way that she got these burns is one of the most horrific crimes I've ever heard of. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney Morgan. If you're new here, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, you subscribe so you know when I come out with new videos, and in the comments let me know what you think about the case or just say hi. A woman named China Arnold gave birth to a beautiful baby girl on August 2nd of 2005. She named this little girl Paris Talley. 28 days later, on August 30th, China and her boyfriend, who was also the father of Paris, his name was Talley, they went to the emergency room with their baby lifeless in hand. Paris had completely odd burns all over her body, but her mother, China, claimed they aren't burns, her skin's just peeling off. Paris had a temperature of 95 degrees, and unfortunately, they were not able to save her, and Paris died. Medical personnel were completely baffled. They had no clue what type of burns these were that were on Paris. They had no idea what the hell was happening or what had happened. So they turned to the mother, China, and they started asking questions. China told doctors that around 2 a.m. that morning, Paris woke up crying, so her mother tried to give her a bottle, but she really didn't want anything to do with it. She noticed that her skin was really warm to the touch, so she put her in her crib, put a fan on her, and she claims she just went back to bed. She said hours later when she finally woke up, Paris still was acting really strange, so that's when she called Terrell, and that's when they went to the hospital. After Paris was pronounced dead, the hospital staff, they called police, and they said that the parents had no explanation for where all these burns came from. When police arrived at the hospital, they pretty much immediately took China and Terrell back to the police station where they were asking them questions. The hospital staff had already told them what China said happened that morning, but they needed to ask them to verify stories and get to the bottom of where the hell all these burns came from. But once they got China talking, China's story completely changed. China told police that night around 9 p.m. she fell asleep on the couch and she had Paris laying on her chest. She said that a few hours later, Paris woke up and she thought she was hungry, so she fed her a bottle, and then they went right back to sleep, Paris still on her chest. She claims that in the morning when she woke up, Terrell was next to her on the couch and Paris was gone. She said that she asked Terrell, "Where's Paris?" and he said, "Oh, I put her upstairs in her crib." So clearly that story doesn't make very much sense to the first one that she told to the hospital staff. Terrell told police that he came home around 4 or 5 a.m. and he saw that China was sleeping on the couch, but Paris wasn't on her chest and she wasn't on the couch. He said that he laid down next to China and they went to sleep. When he woke up, he looked over and he saw Paris face down, lifeless, on the other couch. At the coroner's office, medical examiners, they determined that these burns didn't come from fire or hot water or anything like that. They said that they were thermal burns. But it was unusual because her whole body, head to toe, was burned, except for her back. There was no burns whatsoever on her back. They found this really suspicious, but they had no idea what could have caused these burns. So police really had no idea where they were going to start with this. So they went back to the apartment complex where China, Paris, and Terrell lived, and they started interviewing neighbors. They were asking neighbors, "Did you hear anything? Did you see anything?" And most of the neighbors had the same exact story. They said that around 4 a.m. that morning, they heard and saw Terrell and China like physically fighting in the parking lot, and then they were moved inside later. Police confronted China with this, and China completely denied it. Now months had gone by, and the police still had no answers until they received a call from the coroner's office. There was a story on the news that was similar to this one. The baby had the burns. Her injuries matched Paris's. So the medical examiner started looking more into it and started performing some tests in their office, and they were very confident that they had found how Paris had died. On November 27th of 2006, China was arrested for aggravated murder after they finally discovered the truth of how Paris sustained these injuries and died. And here is the story that police and coroners put together to figure out what happened to her. On the evening of August 29th, China and Terrell left Paris with Terrell's sister so that they could go out and have a night out of fun. While they were out, they were drinking and having a good time, and then all of a sudden, Terrell brought up the fact to China that he had heard around town that that might not be his baby. So they started arguing and it got really bad. So they left where they were at. They went back home. Terrell actually left and went somewhere else immediately. China went in and she told Terrell's sister, go ahead and go home. The neighbors claim that they saw her and she was completely intoxicated, like belligerently drunk, couldn't talk, couldn't walk. So Paris was left all alone with her belligerent drunk mother. It's believed that between 1 and 3 a.m. on the 30th, possibly Paris started crying and China couldn't handle it, so China put baby Paris in the microwave and turned it on, leaving her inside until her skin started to boil. It's believed that she removed Paris from the microwave, laid her face down on the couch, and she just went to bed. Shortly after this, Terrell came in, he laid down, went to bed, and when they woke up, they saw that Paris had died from her injuries, and that's when they took her to the hospital. China went to trial like 3 separate times. In the first trial, she tried to put it off and say that her 8-year-old nephew did it. He put her in the microwave and turned it on, and that's how Paris died, so there was an acquittal there. And it just goes on and on. They're constantly disputing all of everything that happened. But finally, on May 13th of 2011, she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. I was a young mother. I have 3 children of my own. I completely understand the frustration of the baby waking up in the middle of the night, getting no sleep, the baby getting no sleep. It is stressful. But there is no excuse for putting your baby in the microwave until she boils to death. This case completely infuriates me. It is one of the most inhumane, disgusting things that I've ever heard of. Babies are the most innocent. They didn't do anything in life to deserve anything like this. So she's a complete monster and she should have got the death penalty. Thank you guys so much for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, you subscribe, comment, let me know what you think, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!